Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be showing you guys my take on the Cosmo deck for the May 2023 format. So without saying too much, let's just go ahead and jump on into it. This is my first time actually showing you guys this deck on the channel, so I'm really excited to bring this to you. But starting off, of course, we do run 3 copies of Cosmo Tin Can. Tin Can just says that once returned during the end phase, you can pay 500 life points to reveal 3 Cosmo cards with different names from your deck, and your opponent randomly picks one for you to add and puts it into your hand. Then the rest go to the graveyard, so therefore, this mainly is used for filling up your graveyard with a bunch of your Cosmo monsters. Of course, one of the main things about all the pilots, which are all the level 5 or lower psychic monsters, they all have the effect of you can banish them off the field to then be able to special summon one Cosmo monster from your hand with a higher level than that monster. So Tin Can summon level 2 or higher, and so on and so forth, which is just really good. Continuing on, we do run 2 copies of Strawman. Strawman just says that once per turn, you can pay 500 life points and target one of your banished Cosmo monsters to special summon it, but its effects are negated and destroy it during the end phase. So of course, this is mainly just used to be able to bring back bigger monsters, and then you can tribute those, or you can even just bring them back, let them be destroyed during the end phase, and then be able to summon them back using other means. Of course, because this card is a pilot, it does what I said about the Tin Can, and you can summon a monster with higher level. Continuing on, we do run 1 copy of Farm Girl. Farm Girl says that when this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can pay 500 life points to add 1 Cosmo card from your deck to your hand. Honestly, out of all of the effects of these small levels 1 through 3, Cosmo Farm Girl has kind of the weakest effect, just being able to add 1 because it requires you to do damage. However, it's still really good because you can always just tag it out, and it has a pretty decent attack, so therefore that can just tag out into your ships, which we'll get into in just a second. Continuing on, we do run 1 copy of Sword Trooper. Sword Trooper says that once per turn, you can pay 1,000 life points to target 1 psychic type Cosmo monster in your graveyard and special summon it. And of course, this one summons a level 4 or higher. Then we do run 1 copy of Cosmo Good Witch. Good Witch isn't really used all too much in a going first deck. However, I feel because Kashtira is still a popular deck, and just having this in the main deck as a one-of just in case you're forced to go second, and being able to book a moon an opponent's card by paying 500 life points is just really powerful. And of course, this can get you into your level 5 or higher ships, or even your other Cosmo cards. Then continuing on, we do run Wicked Witch. Wicked Witch says that you can pay 1,000 life points, and then this card cannot be destroyed by battle or card effect, so you can always just summon this and then make it to where your opponent can't destroy it by battle or card effects. So it's just really, really powerful just to kind of leave this on field. And then of course, because it's a pilot, you can bring out a level 5 or higher pretty easily. Continuing on, we do run 1 copy of Cosmo Dark Lady. I like Dark Lady because this card says that during either player's turn when another monster activates its effect, you can pay 1,000 life points to negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. So therefore, this card is literally just a monster effect negation, but it's pretty easy to summon, and is also not a once per turn, so you can just keep using that to keep negating your opponent's effects, as long as you have the life points to pay for its cost. Continuing on into the ships, we do run 3 copies of Cosmo Slip Rider. Only reason why I run 3 copies of Slip Rider in this deck, honestly, is because I do run, of course, as y'all saw earlier, the Cyber Dragon Nova to be able to go into Infinity. But this card says that if this card is a normal or special summon, you can target 1 spell or trap card on the field and destroy it. If this card is destroyed by battle or card effect instead of the graveyard, you can banish this card from your graveyard to special summon 1 level 4 or lower Cosmo monster from your deck. So one of the main things y'all will notice about the ships is that it actually does summon back cards from your graveyard with a level lower than that card. So, as I mentioned, the Cosmo, the pilots, they summon out a level bigger or a couple levels bigger, it really depends. And the Slip Rider or any of the Cosmo ships summon out monsters with the lower levels. So that's actually really powerful. But yeah, this being a level 5, it's just really helpful to go into the Novas. Continuing on, we do run 1 copy of Forerunner. Forerunner just says that if this card is destroyed by battle or card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card from the graveyard to special summon 1 level 6 or lower Cosmo monster from your deck. But its effect also says that it cannot be targeted for opponent's card effects, and then during the standby phase, you can gain 1,000 life points. So this is kind of in here, so we can just gain a little bit of life points. Really, not the best card, but it's still good because we're paying so much life with this deck that just getting that 1,000 back is really helpful. Continuing on, we do run 3 copies of Cosmo Dark Destroyer. Dark Destroyer easily is one of the best ships in this deck, because this card says that when it's normal or special summon, you can target 1 monster on the field and destroy it. So therefore, you can destroy your opponent's cards pretty easily, but this also says that it can not be targeted by your opponent's card effects, and then of course, if this card is destroyed by a battle card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card from your graveyard to special summon 1 level 7 or lower Cosmo monster from your deck. So this is just really gets you into your cards from deck, so does the Forerunner, so that's just really powerful. One thing that I also do want to go over with the Slip Rider is that you can use it to destroy your own spells or traps, as well as, of course, your Dark Destroyer. And sometimes this does come up, especially with the Slip Rider, and I will go over that in just a bit. Continuing on, we do run the Cosmo Dark Eclipser. This card says that cannot be targeted by your opponent's card effects. During other player's turn, when a trap card is activated, you can banish 1 Cosmo monster from your graveyard and get the activation. If you do, destroy that card. This card also says that if this card is destroyed by battle card effect instead of the graveyard, you can banish this card from the graveyard to add 1 level 4 lower Cosmo monster from your deck to your hand. Continuing on, we do run 3 copies of Lord of the Heavenly Prison, because we do run a lot of traps in this deck, and this just allowing you to protect all of your set cards, as well as being able to special summon this and set any card, like any spell or trap from your deck, is just really powerful. Only downside of this card is, of course, that the card that is set off of this gets banished during the next end phase. So you gotta keep in mind that you gotta activate that on either your turn or your opponent's turn, like before the card gets banished off of this effect. Moving on into the spells, we of course run 3 copies of Cosmo Town. Cosmo Town says that once per turn, you can target one of your banished Cosmo monsters and return it to the hand. And if you do, lose life points equal to its original level times 100. This card also says that once per turn, you can reveal any number of Cosmo monsters in your hand and shuffle them into the deck, then draw cards equal to the number of cards you shuffled into the deck. This card also says that if this card in the field zone is destroyed by a card effect, you can add 1 Cosmo card from your deck to your hand. So of course, as I said, you compare that with the Slip Rider to destroy your Cosmo Town, so that way you can be able to get that search pretty easily. Continuing on, we do run 3 copies of Emergency Teleport. Emergency Teleport is in here because, as you guys already know, we do run like the level 3s, 2s, and 1s that you can easily be able to summon off of the Emergency Teleport, which is just really powerful to be able to get your play started. Then, of course, we do run 3 copies of Pot of Extravagance because our extra deck is not too important. We could always run Prosperity, however, I feel like just being able to draw those 2 cards helps out the deck a whole lot more, being able to just dig down further for your Cosmo cards and just get more cards in your hands, hence more advantage. You can run Pot of Prosperity, but I think that Pot of Extravagance works just fine in this build. Alright, and then continuing on into the traps, we do run 2 copies of Cosmojo. Cosmojo says that you can target 1 Cosmo monster you control, destroy it, and if you do, banish 1 card your opponent controls or in their graveyard, and you can only activate 1 Cosmojo per turn. One thing, of course, about the Cosmojo is that it actually destroys your own cards, so therefore you can be able to use the effect of like your ships, because that's mainly what you want to use Cosmojo for, is just be able to get rid of your ships and banish cards so that we can use the effect of your ships. Continuing on, we do run 3 copies of Back to the Front. Back to the Front just says that you can target 1 monster in your graveyard and special summon it to your side of the field and defense position, so therefore you can bring out your ships or even your smaller Cosmo pilots, so that way you can always just tag them out, because you can use the effects of your Cosmo pilots on your opponent's turn, which is just really nice just to be able to put extra cards on the field pretty easily and get their effects. Continuing on, we do run 2 copies of Trap Trick. Trap Trick, of course, is mainly just in here to be able to get your Back to the Fronts or your Cosmojos, but really I don't think I need to explain these all too much. And then to wrap up the main deck, we do run 3 copies of There Can Be Only One. The reason why we run this is because only real types that we run is Machine and Psychic, and you're pretty only going to have maybe 1 to 2 monsters on your field at a time, so it's pretty easy to balance out the Psychics and Machines you have. Alright, so that's going to be it for the main deck, and moving on into the extra deck. Of course, as we said, we don't really use the extra deck all too much, however, we do run Cyber Dragon Nova, as well as, of course, the Cyber Dragon Infinity, so we can be able to take our opponent's monsters and attach it to this as material, as well as, of course, being able to be an Omni-Negate by detaching 1 material. Of course, because all you need is 2 level 5 machines, that's why we are running, of course, these Slip Riders in the deck at 3, so that way we can try to get into Nova on turn 1, just so we can set up that really good negation. Continuing on, we do run one copy of Dingirsu, the Orcus of the Evening Star. Honestly, this is one of those cards where I would probably run two because this card can once per turn detach a material to protect any of your cards from being destroyed by card effects or by battle. Another main thing that I like about this card is that it says that you can send one card your opponent controls to the graveyard, so therefore that is a non-targeting removal that does not destroy, so therefore it's really hard for your opponent to be able to respond to that, and it gets over some pretty big monsters. This card also has the ability of being able to attach one of your banished machine monsters to this card as a material, and of course you're going to have a couple banished machine monsters due to the nature of Cosmos. Alright, then of course we do run one copy of Divine Arsenal AA Zeus Sky Thunder. Honestly, you could probably run this card at 2, as well as, of course, Dingirsu. But the main reason why we do run AA Zeus Sky Thunder is because this is just a really easy way to be able to clear out your opponent's board, as long as you just have one Xyz monster on the field. So that's going to be it for the Xyz monster. Of course, we do run one copy of IP Masquerena, as well as Nightmare Phoenix and Nightmare Unicorn. These, I feel like, are just really good in the deck. However, these aren't necessary. You're not really going to link much with this deck. They're mainly just in here to help fill up the spaces. But really just Unicorn being able to bounce a card and Phoenix to be able to destroy a spell or trap is just really powerful, as well as IP Masquerade to be able to make the Unicorn on your opponent's turn. It's just really too good. Continuing on, we do run 2 copies of Blackluster Soldier, Soldier of Chaos. This card is actually really powerful, saying that if you used a level 7 or higher to link summon into this card cannot be affected, nor can it be targeted by your opponent's card effects. So it's just really, really powerful. As a 3000 attack body, with also the effect of when this card destroys an opponent's monster, you can activate one of these effects. This card gains 1500 attack. The second effect says that this card can make a second attack during the battle phase of your next turn, and then the third effect says you can banish one card on the field. So this is just access to non-targeting banish, which is just really powerful. But I really like this card in this deck because we do run a bunch of high-level monsters, and just having a easy access to a non-target banish is just really, really good. Then, of course, to wrap up the extra deck, we do run one copy of Apollosa Both Goddess, as well as one copy of Access Code, just so we can help negate a bunch of monsters, as well as, of course, help finish out games. But yeah, guys, that's going to be about it for the video. If you guys enjoyed, please leave a like. Comment down below what you guys think of the deck profiles, so what you guys would do to make it even better. Of course, be sure to check out the description below for my Twitter. But with that being said, that's going to be about it. See ya.